let's break down if you were to retire with real estate with the end in mind, how exactly we would get there. I'm gonna break down every stage, every step of the process. We're gonna wing it in terms of numbers, but I think the big takeaway here is how my mindset works when it comes to building out a portfolio, and I think there's plenty of value there for yourself to take away from. Now, let's have a bit of fun with this. Hopefully it's not too long, but I do get carried away with these sort of things. Now, what I've got here is the start and the end. We're gonna start from scratch. I'm gonna keep this limited in terms of editing, sit back and relax. Now, what we wanna do is a lot of people will go, just like reading a book, you're going straight to the front and you start. When you're going out and building a portfolio to go and retire, what you want to do is actually start with the end in mind. So let's go across here and see what does retirement actually look like. Now my team and I have spoken to thousands of Australians, so we have a fairly good idea of where the average person is looking at in terms of retirement and when they want to achieve it. And usually it's anywhere between sort of 60 and 70 years old, and it's usually going, I want to have 100K in passive income, and I also want to have a house debt-free, okay? That's usually where we want to end up as our base case. If I got to this, I would be loving life. Now, if we were to look at this and say, well, the 100K could come from investment properties, yes, we also have pension, things that we have in our super as well. And so usually what happens is at about 40 or 50 years old, a lot of the thoughts around what is happening in my super, how do I supercharge it? But what should really be happening is a conversation a lot earlier in the process. So what vehicles do we actually have? We have our personal. So there might be one of us, there might be two of us if you're a couple, you might have some kids. You also then have super. And why I reference super is because it is one of the most tax advantageous structures in Australia where you can build a lot of wealth. So it's something that you need to consider as part of your entire strategy. And again, I'm not going to talk about what you should and shouldn't do in your super because I can't give you that advice. What I'm doing is how I would think about building up a strategy with someone that I'm speaking to for the first time and go, okay, this is how I would be approaching it. And there might be some stuff here that you're maybe further along in the process, might be starting out, or you're actually quite close to the end and you're saying, I just need a little bit more. What can I actually do? So now that we've established what our base case is, we then go, okay, well, do you actually need 100K? And I'm looking at numbers from today. So it might be $1 million by the time you retire because of inflation, but we're looking at 100K in today's dollars. The best thing that I do is I go and break down and say, okay, well, there's levels to financial freedom, and this is applying to everything, is what are my base cases? So one, I want to go ahead and replace my income. Now, usually your income dictates what your lifestyle looks like and what your expenses are. So I would be going, I want to replace my income. I also just want to have passive income to take care of my expenses. And then the other is paid off house. For a lot of people, your biggest expense is going to be the house you live in. So if your house is paid off and then you were to reverse engineer it to say, how much do I actually spend in a week? You're going to find that number's actually quite low. So if you have a house paid off and you're making, let's call it $800 a week, that's actually a pretty good life because you think, well, if I'm spending about $700 at the moment, I've got a bit of a buffer there, but my house is paid off. So that means really I only need about $40,000 a year. And now I've achieved what I wanted to achieve in terms of our base case. Now you might want to go on holidays. You might want to have an investment portfolio that continues to grow in the background. These are the sort of things that I would be thinking about as we go and build this out. So the next question that usually comes up is, okay, now this is where I want to end up. And let's just call it that this house is going to be worth, in today's dollars, let's say $1.5 million. Okay, so that's pretty much how my thinking would be towards the end of the strategy. I've got my two structures, or really off the back of this, I've also got, whether it's a bucket company, whether it's a trust, or whether I'm buying in my own name. The next part is, well, how am I going to get there? What are my vehicles? So I'm going to put in a car here because this is the vehicle of choice. So we have shares/ETFs. We also have property, and for a lot of people, just cash in the bank, term deposits and things like that. Now, as we go through this journey, what we want to do is accumulate over the long term and know that everything compounds. So if you buy well, It'll compound. If you take on leverage the right way, it'll do wonders for you. Equally, when you're taking on leverage and you do it against the wrong asset, it's going to be compounding in the worst way possible. Because what's going to happen is you're going to start feeling like you're falling backwards and you're going to fall back fairly quickly. So this is where it's very important. The type of asset you go for, the strategy that you're going with, and who you're going on this journey with is going to be so important. A lot of this, it's theory, right? We can talk about it. You can watch this video, feel really good about yourself and say, oh, well, now I've had this conversation with my partner. We're not really going to do anything because, hey, you know what? It sounds great, but I really want my house. I want to be emotional and I want to buy my house. What I did was make a whiteboard video not long ago on this channel. So definitely go check out this one, bookmark it, because it's very important to show you what everyone is doing right now and why it doesn't work and what the alternative solution actually looks like. It's a whiteboard video that breaks it down and you're going to enjoy it. So bookmark that one. So we're in this situation where we've got the vehicles, we know the structures, and we pretty much know where we want to end up. So the vehicle of choice, obviously, if you don't have enough in terms of a deposit for a property, you're going to go with shares and ETFs. Now with shares and ETFs, we'll just make some room here, is on average, the way that I do my numbers is that shares grow at about 10%. And that is a very good investment because usually at 10%, you're pretty much doubling anywhere between sort of 7 and 8 years. And it's a good place to be. So if I start with, let's call it $20,000, I'm going to end up with about $40,000 in about 7 to 10 years. Now, if I was to go and say, well, I don't have 20K, I actually have 200K, am I still better off going down this path in terms of a vehicle? Well, I would go on to say that most people should start here. It's the beginner way. And then what they should go and level up to is going into real estate. And if you're in Australia and you're thinking, well, real estate, it's a Ponzi, it's a bubble. Yes, it is all a Ponzi, and you think it's a Ponzi unless you're in it. Everyone that's in it understands it's a Ponzi but doesn't want to admit it. Now, I can go on to say, I've had a lot of shares, and I started off there, I sold everything to get into real estate. So I know that this system, how it works, can work really well for you if you know what you're doing. A lot of people go, well, no, shares are better than property, or property is better than shares. I personally don't have an emotional connection to the real estate or the shares I buy. I just want to know that it's going to get me to my end goal. And I think a lot of people need to stop feeling like they need to attack everyone and say, oh no, my investment's the best. If you want to do real estate, you do real estate. If you want to do shares, you do shares. As long as you get to your end goal. Everyone's got a different risk profile. So some people don't want to do this with debt. Fair enough. Some people go, well, why would I go and invest in real estate when it's already so expensive? I hear you. A lot of people will also say on the opposite side, I have no control. If I invest in Tesla and Elon Musk comes out and he says something and the shares drop, I don't really have a control over that. And I don't want to have a large amount of my net worth in basically a company that I can't trust or a company that I can't control. So there's pros and cons. Hence why I started like this. This is the strategy I like. You may pick up little bits and resonate, and some other parts you're like, I don't care. I don't care what Ravi does. So if I was to build this, I would say, okay, I've got my beginner place to be, which is because I don't have as much in terms of money next to my name. Then I want to get into investment property. Now, the reason I would want to do this, and let's say we go ahead and we do this here. So we've gone ahead and we've done shares while we're early, and now we've gone ahead and we can purchase an investment property. So let's say we purchased our first one. And let's just use some numbers and say it costs us 700K, and to get into this property, it cost us about $130,000. Now the numbers might be slightly off depending on where you're buying in Australia and how much of a deposit you go in, but let's say we're using these numbers here. So once you've got the first property, the big difference here is you're going to go ahead conservatively and say it's going to grow by 5%. Okay, so nothing crazy. Obviously, the results I've got in my personal portfolio is close to 11% per year, and it's been happening like that for the last 12 years. If we look at what Search Property is doing, and I'll leave a link in the description box below to the buyer's agency I founded, because I realized, hey, I'm pretty good at this. I need to go and help a lot more people after helping friends and family, and now we're trying to help as many people that listen. So at the buyer's agency, we're sort of 13 to 15%, and we're only getting better because our research is getting better, the markets we're getting into are earlier, and the relationships are better where we're getting more off-market deals. Which means lately, the results have been absolutely absurd, and it's closer to 15 to 20%, which is phenomenal. So If we're using 5%, it is very, very conservative. But I've used this just to showcase the example of why this is stage one, being beginner, and then you get into real estate and it starts really amping up in terms of your net worth. So at 5% on say 700K is $35,000, okay? Now, if we just look at the example of 10%, if we had the 130K in shares at 10%, so twice the amount of growth, I'm making $13,000, but with real estate, I'm actually making 3 times as much. Now, the argument to this is that it will be negative cash flow. So that's something else to consider. Now, you're probably spending in today's market, depending on what you're buying, it's probably gonna cost you about $250 per week, okay? So it's not a huge amount, but it's still enough to start paying attention to. Now that's when rates are high. Obviously rates could drop, obviously rates could go up, but that's the difference between taking on leverage in real estate and not. But in this case, once you have that first investment property, and say you are going ahead and saying, well, I'm growing at 5%, it's gonna take you longer, but what if it's 10%, okay? Which I still believe is very conservative in growth markets. Well, now you're looking at 70K in terms of growth. I'm not gonna get that for a few years if I was to just be in shares. So what you do is you wait, and you're just holding this property. And then you might get into your next one. So the first one's the hardest to get into because you've got to save up for the deposit, and to save up, you can either save it in your bank, so cash, or you can go into shares and ETFs and try and ramp that up. And then eventually you get into the housing as well. So over here, you now go, okay, well, you know what? It's been 4 or 5 years, and now I can go ahead and purchase another property. And so in here, maybe I'm purchasing it for 800K and it's gonna cost me 200K to acquire. Now, in order to get to the 200K, the big difference between those that will do this really well and get to the end goal versus those that are mediocre about it is, one, I would go on to say, I know a lot more now after speaking to a lot of smart people, being in the right circles, listening to the right advice, versus where I started 10 years ago, sort of winged it and said, I hope for the best. Honestly, it does make a huge difference when you're in the right conversations with the right people. So if you go ahead and say, well, I could buy this in year 4 if I did it myself, or I could potentially get in at 2.5 years. And that's gonna make a massive difference because everything compounds. So over here, we go ahead, purchase our next property, and we can do that from the equity that we get from the first property into the next. And so now I'm not having to save up from scratch again. Okay, and that is the power of leverage and the system that we have when it comes to banking. So what we're gonna do here is basically rinse, repeat, and continue that process. But if we use what I spoke about in this video, which is about the strategy and how you would break it down, you're not focusing on, oh, I wanna pay off my debt, and that's why I'm going principal and interest. I'm going interest only because I wanna take on as much debt to then build up my portfolio, and then I can sell some of that real estate to then eventually either pay off the investment properties and I have a debt-free portfolio, or I'm gonna sell that off, use that money to go and buy the house. And that house is gonna give me financial freedom because I've got a house that's paid off, completely debt-free, and now I've got my investment portfolio that I can start rebuilding again. And that's where you really have 2 options. So the 2 options that you have is, let's say you go ahead, you rinse and repeat this process, and you go ahead and you have 4 investment properties. You have the choice to say, option 1, I can go ahead and sell 2 and keep 2. So you do this for long enough, what you will eventually find is that these values will 2x, and you'll be able to go ahead and sell 1 and 2, pay off all the debt in this one, and you finally get to your 100K worth of income or very close to it, okay? You have option 1. Option 2, which a lot of people will do, what they will do is they will go and sell to buy. And what that means is you might go ahead and say, I'm gonna sell 1, 2, 3 properties, I'll keep the 1, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna buy the dream house. And my goal now is to start paying off this as soon as possible, but I've still got the investment property here. And this is where the conversation around super comes up, because in super, you can actually buy more real estate. So traditionally, if you're with a super fund, it's going out there and into equities. So it's in shares effectively. But you have the choice. If you go into a self-managed super fund, you can then go out there and buy other assets, whether it's crypto, whether it's ETFs, shares, or whether it's going out there and buying real estate. This video is not about SMSF and how to supercharge it. If you want a whiteboard video about that, I can make that as well for you guys. But here, what we're focusing on is, do we want the dream house or do we want a debt-free portfolio? You have either option. But this is the key. You have options. You don't do this early on and you simply go out and you buy the one house, you do not have options here, which means this here becomes just this pipe dream that you hope things work out. You hope that you get enough of a pension, you hope that it works out for yourself, and hope is not a strategy. So all I'm trying to show to you is how you can go and use different vehicles, different structures, to then effectively be in different assets to get you to the end goal. And say, again, you would just repeat this process, and then you'd eventually go, okay, well, you know what? I've got an SMSF strategy here, and that means I've gone ahead and bought my dream house, but in my SMSF, I'm also buying investment properties too, and that will eventually get me to my end goal. And I promise you, you spend a lot more time figuring this part out and getting it right, even just 1% increase in terms of the output of that investment property. If it goes from 10% to 11%, or from 11% to 14%, it is gonna make a big difference, not in the first year, once you get to 10, 15, 20 years time. You're talking about millions of dollars. So when you have a difference up here and you spend the time, you get the right advice, get the right people executing for you, you can then have the maximum amount of choice here, which eventually gets you to your end goal. And you do this part right, you're having this conversation in your 40s and 50s. As you can tell, I'm very passionate about this sort of stuff. So if you have any ideas around what you want covered off in a whiteboard video, I will make that for you. And all you have to do is comment down below. I'm gonna have my team and myself actually looking at the comments to say, okay, that's a great idea. I think it can bring a lot of value. If you see someone else comment and you go, that's a really good idea, press the thumbs up on that comment, and that's gonna tell me that there's more people actually wanting to hear that. Now, the other thing I'm gonna tell you is, yes, I make these videos and I enjoy making them, but what gives me a lot of energy is when you hit that subscribe button and you actually like the video. It tells me what you guys really enjoy and what you're getting value from. Because this stuff should have been taught to us by school, our parents, people we know. Unfortunately, it's failed us. And hence why I'm trying my best for the last 6 years to just come out and bring as much value to you guys as well. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. If you have, you're gonna enjoy the whiteboard video. I'm linking it up here, and I'm gonna leave links below as well for yourself, as well as that free call. I know a lot of things I chucked out there, but again, beauty of the video is you can always rewind and go and revisit any of this. Hope you guys have enjoyed this one. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks, guys.